Hey guys, Slinish Devotee or Brekka Kiwi, depending on where you see me here. First time in a long time. I'm playing a game of Conquest versus No Frag Limit, who I believe is also making some YouTube videos. Go and find him and watch his stuff as well. It's always good to see more Conquest out there. Okay, so he's playing Urien Rakath, who obviously gets his nice torture events, which is always really, really cool. I like Urien myself, so I'm really keen to see what he does. And I'm going with old Zogwort. With all the new APOCA cards out and new planets, I wanted to stick with something I knew fairly well. So Zogwort, obviously, when he commits and when he attacks, creates a Snotling token. And here they are. So I'm just going to get them ready. 10 maximum Snotlings at any time. Alright, I'll just put those over to the side. Now, I am doing this as a post-game voiceover. Due to various bits and pieces, so I do know how this game goes. Xenos World Talon, green and blue at the beginning. You can move your enemy's army units around. That's one of the new planets. Daprian's Gate, just green, exhaust an army unit, and then it cannot ready the next phase. That's quite good. Mangaras, red and blue, remove up to 4 damage among cards you control, not just one card. So that's good for me for a bit of a swarm. I like that. Kunarog, the Slave Market, put 2 tokens into play exhausted at a target planet. Zavros Foundry, red, green, blue, rally 8, a support or attachment, and use it. So, some interesting things there. I've got a few army units. I've got a bit of resource generation with my scrap nabbers. I'm having a bit of a look around and thinking, yeah, there's some red. And I think I decided to keep this. Now, with those planets, I think planet 5 is the first victory condition for everything. So I wasn't paying enough attention on this replay here, but I believe so. So yeah, let's see what I can do with old Zogwort, feeling a bit familiar, but with some new planets and some new opposition. So I start off with a 2-cost scrap nabber, 1 command hammer, 1 attack, 2 hit points, and it generates extra 2 resources on a red planet, which I've put it at down the line, which is great. And Frag Limit responds with an Incubus Warrior, great choice. 2 cost, 2 command, 3 attack, 1 hit point over from my scrap nabber. So his command beaten me there. The scrap nabber is useless. So I throw out another scrap nabber onto whatever that planet's called. I can't see it from my vantage anymore, so another scrap nabber onto that planet to get that bonus resources. Brings out one of the new APOCA cards, the Arrogant Hominoculus. 1 cost, 1 command, 1 attack, 1 hit point, but other Hominoculuses on this planet get more expensive, and after you play a torture event, you must damage something else on the same planet as the Arrogant Hominoculus. So quite useful for him to take pings at my scrap nabber. But if there's nothing else on that planet, the Hominoculus will end up killing itself because it's a forced reaction or interrupt, forced something. But yeah, so it will kill itself eventually if you don't put it amongst enemies to cause problems too. But also that equalizes our command, which means at the moment all my resource generation is kind of down the hill, down the gurgler. So 1 cost shooter mob, I'll just put it out onto sort of the middle planet, just trying to spread out a bit of command. That's 1 cost, 1 command, 2 attack, 1 hit point, absolutely nothing else interesting about a shooter mob, just a nice, deep, simple little orc unit. But it gets me a little bit more command look, hopefully. Baleful Mandrake, good solid Dark Aldo unit, 3 cost, 1 command, 3 attack, 2 hit points, and ranged. It's a really good target for the Hypex Injector. I know that there's a lot of Urien builds from back in the day that used Hypex Injectors, cheap Torturers, and the ranged Baleful Mandrake to just, ranged damage Palooza. Right, at this point I'm thinking there's not a lot of resources left. I do need to get something onto the first planet. I was considering Snotlings, but then they would be gone as soon as the next round comes. And I just felt like that might be a waste because my opponent might not end up going to Planet 1. The Rookie War Buggy, I really need to go there as well to get advantage of its text box. So I go with the Snakebite Bug for now. 2 cost, 1 command, 3 attack, 4 hit points. Great stats for the cost. but every time it attacks, it hurts itself. And there's that Hypex Injector, 0 cost attachment. After you play a Dark Eldar event, ready the unit. So you can just keep readying those mandrakes, which is really, really powerful. And I've got nothing else. And neither does he. So, set my servo skull. I think I'm going to go for planet 5. I should be able to kill the Incubus. I've got a 2 shield in hand to wear the blow of the Incubus, and that way I definitely get some resources. That means I would get 3 command, and if he blocks me, I'll at least get 2, so I feel like that's pretty reasonable. There we go. He goes to 4 to block my shooter mob. He's probably going to kill them. And so I get a couple of commands. Thankfully, my planet 3 is equal between us, so that limits him getting an advance on me. So I get 2 cards and 3 resources, and both my cards are copies of Crush Face, which is fine. Crush Face is nice, but not so many options for right now. Alright, so it's been a while since I've played on Octagon, so I'm just reminding myself on sort of the protocol of things. So I just want to check the command action step. So I typed no command, realized that might come across that I was saying he shouldn't have got some command, so I clarified to add action, and then suddenly it looks like I'm shouting at him. Sorry, frag, no frag, I didn't mean anything by it. So on to planet 1, he's got no opposition for me, which is nice, and if he doesn't want to do anything in particular, my snake bite will win, which is lovely. No actions on planet 1, so I win, and so I'm just going to have a look at the card for what's its battle ability and see whether or not I want to use that. So Xenos World Talon, target a planet. Your opponent must move an army unit he controls to that planet. Then you may move an army unit you control to that planet. So one of his units has to move, and then I can move there as well. So I could say, yeah, I keep it simple. I would like my snake bites to go to planet 1, and that way they're ready for the next round. But it means that he's going to get something there as well. But I figured all of the options to move to planet 1 would be perfectly fine. The Homunculus could end up is not a big deal. I don't know how many torches and events he's got to cause problems to me, but I figured that was fine. And the Incubus clearing out my planet, getting it safe for me would be fine. So all in all, I was very happy to send something to planet 1. So we go on to the slave market. And he has no actions, neither do I. And you always forget that Urien's hits quite hard. He's got 2 attack, which is pretty decent for what feels like quite a squishy warlord in a lot of other ways. So I'm about to shield it. I'm considering, do I want the shooter mob to stay alive? Do I want to pick at Urien? But really I need those shields for against the Incubus, or potentially against the Incubus. So I'm just going to let him take that planet. 2 token units of any kind in play, exhausted to target planet, so that's fine. He gets to have some tokens, which I assume pretty much, almost inevitably, you'd want Chimera. But I mean, there might be other times for other things. So there we go, 2 Chimera. And I figured he would put them on planet 5 opposite my ward, where I'd have to really just spend some time clearing them out. But no, he puts them onto the slave market, which I'm actually not too sure why he put them there. Hoping to get some red planet oomph, maybe? I'm not sure. So over onto Zarvos Foundry. He has an action. I don't, but he does. Power from Pain. I had not considered that. I really hadn't. So for him it costs 1, thanks to Urien's ability. As a combat action, your opponent must sacrifice an army unit. I basically have to throw one of my guys in the trash. So I had to think about it. I don't want to lose the snake bite. Thankfully, they're all only 2 cost units. But at the end, I decided to take the one on planet, what will be planet 4 eventually, because the other one got a card and a resource, whereas what will be planet 4 is only a card, I believe. So it was slightly less beneficial, and there's nothing opposite the other Scrap Nabber. The Arrogant Homunculus uses his reaction to ping my snake bites, which is good, and that just leaves me versus an Incubus. And then I swing at it. I wonder if he's going to shield. And Frag reminds me that I should actually have some Snotlings with me, which is kind of the whole point of this deck list, is the lots of little things. And he's very, very kind. He allows me to take one for the attack and one for the commit. I think I would have been okay even if I'd only taken the one from the attack and he hadn't let me have the commit one because it was too late. I think I still would have been alright in this fight at this planet, but it was very kind of him to let me do that. He does shield it with a Visions of Agony, no less. So the Incubus is going to get to swing back at me. Does mean that no frag limit is down to 2 cards, which feels pretty good. I use up a Battle Cry to shield 2 of that, and just take the 1 point of damage. And then I can swing back and see if I can kill this Incubus. Yeah, so I feel like I hopefully would have been alright, even if I'd only got the 1 Snotling for the attack. So I trigger the Foundry, which allows me to rally 8 or search the top 8 cards, and then put the ones I don't want at the bottom of the deck. In this case, it's looking for an attachment or a support, and I simply don't have any, which actually doesn't surprise me because I think I have just like 3 attachments and 1 support in this deck. It's lots of cheap orcs. So that trigger was completely useless, unfortunately. So Zogwort clears out the Snotlings from the board. We're all done, and we can end turn. Boom. Okay, new planet Ironforge, which allows you to make one of your units stronger. It's quite helpful, or can be at least. A Shrieking Exarch for 5 resources, 2 command, 4 attack, 6 hit points. It's an elite, but you must discard 2 extra cards when you deploy it, which Frag Limit will be thinking through now. As a reaction, after an army unit is destroyed at this planet, draw a card and deal 1 damage to a target enemy unit. That is any enemy unit anywhere in the game on the board. It is the Shrieking Exarch is a phenomenal beast of a card, and it just that was very scary. And I'm thinking, okay, what do I need to do now? Just double checking. Frag is remembering to check for discard, but I've just noticed he's down to 3 cards, so he's going to have to discard 2 out of 3, which is pretty tough decisions to make there. He loses a Slith Mercenary and a Twisted Rax. One of only 2 Twisted Rax in the deck because they're the signature unit for Urien, so that's got potential. Right, so I'm looking at my options, and we'll start with Crushface. On the first planet, here's the core set Orc Unique. He's 3 cost, 2 command, 2 attack, 3 hit points, as they all are, but he allows me to deploy Orc units at the same planet for a savings of 1 resource, which becomes very useful with this deck because it means this Rickety War Buggy is free. And so is this Rickety War Buggy. It is also free. Oh, Frag is hemming, so I'm just double checking that I haven't done something wrong. I believe that's all correct, so I'm just going to double check with him. Yep, all good. Okay, so the other Rickety War Buggy is also free. It's wonderful. Crushface is a great thing because of that. And then I was considering what to do next. I think the Shrieking Exarch only triggers its reaction after killing army units. So if I can use tokens to fight the Shrieking Exarch, that would actually mean it doesn't get to trigger its ability almost at all. So I'm thinking that would be a good call. Now, to make sure I can overwhelm it with Snotlings, I'm thinking I'm going to need to commit to that planet which is pretty freaky. I'm not sure if that's a good call. Also, if I Snotling attack onto that planet, which I now do, it's pretty clear that I'm going to go there to trigger a battle, because otherwise all those Snotlings are going to vanish at the end of the combat phase. So I've just given away my my commit quite clearly there. The Snotling attack is a 2-cost deploy action. Put 4 Snotlings amongst the planets. So for 2 cost, you get 4 HP and 4 hit points and no command, kind of. It can be really useful, but in Zogwort, some people don't like it in Zogwort because he clears the board of them, but I find that they tend to all be killed pretty quickly anyway, and I'm not too worried about that. I use them as a sudden, overwhelming force if possible. Alright, so I'm going to Planet 2. And so is he. So he's making sure I don't get the bonus resources, but on committing, there's another Snotling on that planet. There we go. So he gets the command there with the 2 command hammers from the Shrieking Exarch, but I do get command on Planet 1 because Crushface has 2 and Snakebite has 1, so I have 3 versus his 2, which is nice. I get a couple of resources there at least. No command actions again. And neither for no frag limit. So, Daprian's Gate battle begins. No actions, and we have the ranged mandrakes to go first. And they go for Crushface, which actually I found kind of surprising. I was thinking, why not go for the Snakebites? You really want to kill them. So there goes, Crushface, gone. And then Frag Limit has an action, which is fine. And it's a Clivex War Leader. The 4 cost, 2 command, 3 attack, 3 hit points. After it enters play in the combat phase, destroy a damaged army unit. So my Snakebite is immediately killed. It's just dead now. I really hadn't been thinking about the fact that he might have a Clivex. Either he drew that, or that was the one card he was holding on to, which it may have been. Then the Clivex swings, which kills one of my Rickety War Buggies. I do get to swing with the Rickety War Buggy, and I'm trying to decide what's the best unit to hit, and I think the ranged mandrakes are probably the most dangerous thing. So I managed to take them out with my Rickety War Buggy, and then they die from a simple little Heminoculus. And then Daprian's Gate is his. Exhaust an army unit. That unit cannot ready during the next headquarters phase. So he's going to be able to exhaust my Scrapnabber, which won't be able to stand up in the next combat phase, headquarters phase. So it'll become completely useless in the next phase. Luckily, it'll ready during the end of a combat if it survives, but I need to make sure it stays ready at the end, otherwise it's in trouble because it won't be able to ready during the headquarters phase. So I've got a green and a blue, and no frag limit has a green, so that's fine. We're off to reasonable starts here. And we're on to Mangueras. No frag limit has the initiative, no actions, and I'm thinking I've got 2 shields. I can take a big hit on my Warlord, but I want as many Snotlings in play as possible, so I think I'm going to swing with my Warlord first, even though that leaves him a bit vulnerable. But the first swing, of course, is no frag limit. It kills the Scrapnabber, which means his planet victory is kind of limited. That means he's allowed to draw a card, and he's going to ping one of the Snotlings. And so I let that Snotling die. Now I've got 4 Snotlings left. I want to get as many Snotlings out as I can, so I'm going to grab another one by attacking with my Warlord, and we'll put a ping onto the Exarch, which it does. Okay. No actions. Urien swings at a snotling, and I'm like, no, I want to keep my snotlings. So I block the 2 with my battle cry and put it aside, keep that snotling alive, gets me 1 more attack, and then immediately, as you'll see, I realise if I had just paid for the battle cry, I could have lost 1 snotling, but added 8, 9, 10 potential damage extra out of the remaining snotlings. And possibly, let's see, that would have been a 3. It would have been 6 onto the Exarch, hopefully would have killed it. And then another 6 onto Urien, may not have killed him, but would have seriously put a crimp in his day. But here we go, we're just moving our way along and pinging away at the Exarch. I'd really like to kill it before it goes. 1 more. If he has any shields, I'm going to be really annoyed, and then it can run away. He says he's got nothing, so pull. The Exarch is down. Okay. Hooray, I killed the Exarch. Everybody stand up. And is Urien going to hang around? Because I will happily hang around. No, Urien is leaving. I wanted to say me too because he was staying, because I thought he was staying, but I just wanted to be clear. I was staying. Remove up to 4 damage among cards you control. Alright, well, I can heal my ward, I guess. There we go. So all those snotlings go away immediately. And I'm left with just my warlord, whereas he has 4, 5 resources worth of units in his HQ and a couple of tokens on a planet. So he's got a bit of an advantage on me here. So I draw launch the Snots, which is fine. Contaminated World Adrakan has popped up down the end. Deal 1 damage to 5 units at a target planet, which is not good against... I don't like getting that against me. And another Warbiker. So I've quite limited. And I'm now looking, okay, red and blue. I don't have any red, I have 1 blue. I'm not likely to be interested in the red planets. It's not a big deal. So I decide to go for it anyway. Yep. I decide to keep the pressure on as much as I can, I guess. And he throws out another Baleful Mandrake, but he puts them down on planet 2. He really wants to strongly keep that planet, apparently. But I get to put out Evil Sun's Warbiker for a cost of 1 instead of the usual 2. 1 command, 2 attack, 2 hit points, while there's a Warlord there, plus 2 attack, which is very nice. He throws a Void Pirate down the far end, which is a 1-cost command capper with 0 attack and 1 hit point, but gives you an extra card on that planet. That means he's going to get 3 cards out of that planet, which is pretty intense. I was going to go there because I wanted card draw. I don't have enough cards. I need lots and lots of cards to get my swarm out, and I do decide to go there. So I'm going to 4, and he's going to 4 as well, which I didn't expect. He has so many units. I fully expected him to be putting those on planet 1 or 2, maybe 3 at the worst. But that is quite a surprise for me to end up on that planet there. Yeah, he doesn't want that blocked. Which is fine, okay. So he gets 2 planets. I do get the first planet. Oh, I was checking because I felt like he was saying I shouldn't be getting command for some reason. I wasn't sure what he meant at first. A card and a resource is fine. I get a snake bite, which is a good unit, cheap unit. Okay, on to planet 1, I guess. I win that planet. I just get that. That's nice. He's set up for red planets quite nicely. I have 2 blue now, though, so that gives me an option. I'm glad about that. I'm looking at this planet and thinking, is there much point in me doing anything? Can I do much here? What can I do? Can I hit the Clivex? Can I build up some? Can I build up a few snotlings in a round and then do a launch the snots and try and hurt somebody fairly badly? If I attack twice, that will give me 2 more snotlings out. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm going to try and build up a few snotlings. So I swing at the Clivex. It shields it with Catatonic Pain, one of the new Apoca torture events. So I'm trying to think, how strong could I get my launch to snots to be? If I could hit for 4, that would be, you know, a nice solid hit, but yeah. He's down 2 resources and 4 cards, so he's got a few options potentially. I've got lots of resources, which is good, but only 2 cards. I really need more cards. Looks like a crazy move, but I need to play it this way. So let's see what he does. Let's see his crazy move. Here it comes, here it comes. It is a Searing Brand at 2 cost, very expensive, but deal 3 unpreventable damage to a non-warlord at a planet with your warlord. I can discard 2 cards to cancel the effect, but I don't want to lose my 2 cards. I'm down to 2 cards anyway. So that's, you know, okay. I will not be I will not be discarding to cancel that. So you've spent 2 resources to kill a Snotling, which seems like overkill. But then the Arrogant Homunculus triggers, which forces a damage to be done, which he puts on the other Snotlings. And I'm like, oh, that's no good for me. It's still expensive, but it clears out the planet, makes sure there's not too much extra coming back in. I take the 2 hits because I figure I'll just wear those 2 points of damage. I don't want to lose my launch to snots at this stage. Everything readies, and no, I'm not staying. I am getting out of there. So Ironforge allows you to move an army unit to your HQ, and then, as long as you were able to do that, an army unit at your HQ gets +2 attack and +2 hit points until the end of the game. You just bulk them up. So now this Clivex is a 5/5, which is very, very nice, especially seeing as you've already got the benefit of its text box when it arrived in the first place. So it's very effective. Okay. Right, so I need a blue planet to win, which is currently Planet 2. Planet 1 I don't need to worry about. But it does mean he's going to have more tokens, which is worrying. Zogwort Foundry, I need to get in on that, so I need to throw these guys onto that planet as soon as possible. Those guys are just command cappers, which is not a big deal, or they'll kill his Void Pirate if he plays a Torture. Or he can kill himself and leave the Void Pirate if he wants. You know, he can do that. So I'm looking and thinking, do I want to rush on second planet? Do I want to go to Planet 1 at all? Do I want to wait longer? Yeah, probably just going to go for Planet 2. Brings out a Pain Crafter, which is another new APOCA unit. 2 cost, 1 command, 1 attack, 2 hit points, another Homunculus. After you play a Dark Eldar event, exhaust this unit to attach blah blah blah. Basically what it means is you play an event and then exhaust this guy, and an army unit gets a +1/+1, +1 attack, +1 hit point attachment. It's just a handy way of getting a little bit more oomph out of your events and just making your few your smaller units just a little bit bigger and just buffing things up a little more and a little more incidentally. So he starts to go to Planet 1 and then realizes, actually, I'm not likely to go to Planet 1, or it would be very unusual if I went to Planet 1, so he moves over to Planet 2, which is fine. And I'm thinking, I need to kill that Pancrafter. I need to go to Planet 2 and kill it. But first, I don't want to give away my game plan too quickly, so I'll throw this Void Pirate out down the far end where I can get some extra cards out of that and see if I get a few more units for the next turn. Pulls out Twisted Racks for 2 resources. They're the signature army unit of Urien. 2 cost, no command, 3 attack, 3 hit points. Great stats for the cost because there's no command. And they can ready as long as you throw a torture card out of your hand, which is pretty easy to do as Urien. Pretty useful. Readying, especially a 3/3 unit, is a decent thing to be able to do. So now, what do I want to put where? I'm just checking how many command hammers there are on Planet 3. And what do I want to go where? I was worried that if I put these Evil Suns on Planet 2, it really emphasizes that I'm taking my Warlord to Planet 2, but realistically, I didn't really have anywhere else I was going to go, did I? Frank Limit realizes where I'm going. My commit is pretty set. It has to really be Zogwort Foundry. but Frag Limit was done, so I throw a Snakebite onto that planet as well. And looking around, I'm winning planet 2 and 4. He's winning planet 1 and 3. And I fully expect to be fighting him on planet 2. Yep. So here we go. Let's go to planet 2. And I'm a bit worried, but because I'm having to fight that 5/5 Clivex, but let's do it. And he goes to planet 4, throwing me entirely. I absolutely am bewildered by that. I did not expect it in the slightest. But that means he wins 3 out of 4 command, which is absolutely huge. And I just get my lowly little 1, which gets me a single card. Although it is a Zogwart's Run Turtle, which is pretty handy. I like them. He gets 4 cards and 3 resources. I'm not happy. It's worrying. So he wins the slave market. There's nothing I can do about that. That's his. Oh, he has an action first, though. He plays Rickart's Experimentations, the signature event, 4 of them in an Urien deck. 1 cost, reduced to 0 for Urien's special ability. Name a card. He names unit. I either discard one of that type of card from my hand, or I damage my Warlord. Then the Pain Crafter attaches that to the Twisted Racks as a +1/+1. So now the Twisted Racks are a 4/4 that can ready themselves. The Pain Crafter has to exhaust for that, but realistically it was likely to be killed anyway, so that's why he's doing it now, I would assume. And then the Arrogant Homunculus is a forced reaction, so it has to do some damage, and it decides to kill itself and leave the Void Pirate on that planet, which is really just a slick set of things to do for what was a 0-cost action that caused damage to my Warlord. Just beautiful set of interactions there, really nice. Okay, and with no more actions, I'm going to swing for 4. Oh no, we're still on planet 1. Okay, so he triggers planet 1, of course. 2 Chimera exhausted, and he puts them onto planet 1, which is interesting. I for sure thought they'd go on planet 2. But obviously I'd killed them on planet 2, so he's thinking at least they can be a part of the battle when he commits to planet 1 next turn, as it's my win condition. So, Zavos Foundry, all done. And heading for 4 with the Warbiker. Kills the Pain-Crafter, all good. So with no other tricks, cool, I'm going to trigger the Zavos Foundry. Let's look for a attachment or a support in the top 8 cards. Okay, so I've got a promotion, which is an attachment. I've got my signature support, the Zogwart's Hovel, and I've got an ammo depot. But really, it's got to be the signature support. It's a really handy one. I really like it. It's a 2 cost, but it's coming in for free today. And what it does is, well, I'm not going to show you. It seems like every time. So currently, Zogwort generates a Snotling when he attacks and when he commits to a planet. Zogwart's Hovel means that every time he's targeted as the defender of an attack, he also generates a Snotling. So that means he arrives at a planet with 1, he attacks and he makes another one, and then somebody tries to hit him and he makes another one. You end up with 3 Snotlings pretty much out of nowhere. It'll be really, really helpful in this last battle, especially with things like all these Chimera tokens. Urien manages to kill off the Void Pirate down the end there. And then he retreats the Clivex, which I hadn't even considered was a possibility, but it was really good thinking from no frag limit. And that means the Clivex is going to be able to be coming into the battle at planet 1. Urien triggers that planet ability, which is 1 damage to up to 5 units at a single planet. And so that means he really hurts all of my units readying on planet 1, which is a really good move from him. And, alright. If I can take this first planet, I win. I've got a lot of units on there, and especially important, I have Crush Face on this planet. So I bring in a Snotlings Runt Herder for cheap, or 1 less because of Crush Face, and then he plays Catatonic Pain. After an enemy army unit enters play at a planet, move that unit to an adjacent planet of your choice. Costs 2 with Urien's discount. fantastic use of the catatonic pain there to move my runt herders out of anything useful. Eldritch Counselor, 0 cost, unique support, which is a relic, so very limited. After you deploy a non-elite, look at your top cards equal to that cost. 1 goes to the bottom of the deck, the rest can be reordered. If you have less cards than your opponent, you get a card. So it's an interesting sort of it's like a mid-tier cost, non-elite cost support that helps you get card draw. So you really want to focus on resources for those more expensive non-elites. Then I have another Zogwort run herder to put down, normally 3 cost, 2 cost today. They are, I didn't hover over them, I'm sorry, I believe they are 1 command, 1 attack, 3 hit points, and every time they take a damage, they generate a snotling. So they should generate up to 3 snotlings before they die. So that's another body on the planet, which is I'm very, very happy about. And basically, I'm down to my last few cards. I want to generate as many snotlings as I can, battle cry as many snotlings as I can, throw a launch to snots in at some point as well when I've got a bunch of snotlings on this planet. So he's got a 4/4, a 5/5, a 3/2, a bunch of 2/1s. He throws out Urien's Oubliette, signature support, 1 cost, unique. That means I have to make the visibility of my deck everybody, so the top card is revealed, and then no frag limit has an action that he can take on that support to exhaust the support and make either he and I draw a card or he and I discard a card. So if he makes me draw, I get my my ammo depot. And he's checking you did already, because I'm done. I have nothing else I can do, so I'm done. And very cleverly, he realizes that that means I can no longer deploy. So he puts out an arrogant Homunculus just to make sure that he still gets the command on the planet that he sent my runt herders to. I mean, I'm going to planet 1, that's clearer, so I set that now because it doesn't matter. And he sets off the Oubliette. And I was about to throw my card into the discard pile, and he says draw, which I completely forgot that that's actually an ability. I thought it just discarded. So he gives me a support that I can no longer use. Now next turn, if he does stop me at this planet, next turn I've got this ammo depot, which will be helpful to me. But it's quite a nice move. I thought that was really nice. And it also reveals for him that my next draw, if I win command on planet 1, which I probably will, is a unit. So it's another thing that will not affect this battle. So he's got some solid currency there. Obviously I'm going to planet 1. Obviously he's coming to planet 1 to try and stop me. What a shocker. Let's see what happens here. Zogwort goes over, and there's my first snotling. How many of these snotlings can I get? And I gotta say, I only just remembered when we committed and he brought everything over that all of his would be what's the word? All his stuff would be exhausted to start the first round. So I'm like, yes, look at all my things. This could go well. I could be okay. This could be all right. He gets 3 cards, but no resources, which is good. No command for me. He's got no command actions either. So let's see what we can do here. I'm looking for my first swing. What do I want to hit with first? And it's got to be the Warbikers to get the most hit out of it I can. And I'm thinking if I can kill the Twisted Rax, I think. If he's got no shields, although he's got 8 cards, he's going to have shields, so that might not have been the best choice. But I swing for the Twisted Rax with 4. And he uses his signature attachment for 3 shields to just take 1 point onto the Twisted Rax, which I was like, wow, that's not what I was expecting, that's good. And then he throws... he readies the Twisted Rax, which is their action ability. He just needs to throw a torch card into the discard. He throws a Power from Pain. Very good, very nice. And now his Rax are ready, which is quite a concern for me. I'm not thrilled by this. Swings at my Warlord, which means I get a Snotling because my Warlord was declared a defender. And now I'm thinking, if my Warlord dies now, I've got 2 Snotlings. But if I shield and forego getting the launch to Snots, I could get at least 1 more Snotling on the table for attacking as my Warlord. Maybe 2 Snotlings if I get defended again, and then I'll be doing a battle cry. So I'd forego 2 or 3 bonus attack strength from the launch to Snots, but I'd be gaining up to like 4 or 5 from the battle cry. So I take I use it as a shield. I've got 1 hit point left, so I'm nearly ready. And then very nicely, Recast Experimentations again, free again. Which I'm like, oh no, what's he going to name? He names attachment. I don't have any attachments, so he knows I've got a support and a unit, and he's betting that my other card is not an attachment, so that bloodies Zogwort. Which is a little bit frustrating, but that means I've lost my launch to the Snots, I've lost the ability to get any more Snotlings, and so battle cry the whole lot of them. Here we go, that's my last thing here. We'll add a resource and add another resource. So now we've got +2 attack on every Orc unit at this battle until the end of the battle. There we go. Let's see what I can do. Let's cronk this thing, is what I say. So yeah, let's do what we can. All trickery, nothing against brute orc force. That is basically what this deck is just so many orcs that you can't stop it. Or at least that's the idea behind it. Whether or not it works is of course a totally different thing. So swinging for 5 with a Snakebite Thug and taking its own point of damage. And Fraglimit sounds like he's calling it. The racks are kills. He says, good game, I cannot stand this firepower. I don't know if he's actually putting himself out of the game or not. He's exhausted. Urien swings at Crushface, who doesn't actually die for that. He should have killed the Warbikers, which made me sort of go, oh, maybe he is calling it. So I'll attack the Warbikers. There's a Warlord at this planet, so that's a hit of 6. Yeah, there he goes. I will lay down here. So I just want to make sure he's got 3 resources. He's got 5 cards, no other trickery that could be useful. But most of his shields are going to no longer be enough, because I'm going to be able to hit for more than most shield cards. He's got a Clivex apparently, but not enough resources to play it. So he deletes everything, bloodies his Warlord, leaves, and I will claim that planet. And there we go, a welcome return to Conquest. I managed to pull out a nice win with an old school Zogwort Swarm. It was a great game with no frag limit. I hope he had a good game, and I hope you guys are still playing Conquest. Keep it up, keep it going, and hopefully I'll get a chance to see you back here on the video screen sooner rather than later. Catch you later, guys.